Hey, what's up, everybody? Well, we made it. We're on the cruise ship.
You don't know Flack. You don't know Flack.
Welcome to You Don't Know Flack, a podcast full of stories about retro gaming, retro computing, video games, arcade games, and technology from a guy who was there and still is. My name is Rob O'Hara, but for the next 30 minutes, you can call me Flack.
All right, listeners, welcome to part 2 of the... Oh, there goes the cat. Ran her right off.
Totally live in that box and get ready to take it all down.
She's probably going to knock off the camera here. Welcome to part 2 of maybe part 2. Maybe there'll be 3 parts. We don't know.
Maybe 4.
Maybe 4 of our vacation summary. So if you have not listened or watched the first episode or the first half, basically to get you up to speed, this year is our 30th anniversary, and so my wife, as part of this celebration for our 30th wedding anniversary, planned the vacation of a lifetime. I am but a passenger on this vacation and in life sometimes.
I am the director of the life.
And so that trip, if you haven't listened to that episode, started with flying from here in Oklahoma, which is where we are now, we're back home, we spent a couple of days in London, we spent a couple of days in Paris, we spent a couple of days in Barcelona, Spain, and then we boarded a cruise ship. Now, to get you to that point, I have to tell you this. On a previous cruise vacation, we took a Carnival cruise that was kind of boring. And so during that cruise, we spent more time than usual in the casino.
It was our first time to go without any friends or any family with us.
Just
so
our right. And no kids, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so just the 2 of us. And so on the very first day of the cruise, we said we were going to spend $100 in the casino. I spent $100, or we spent $100, and we won like $1,000. Like, it was crazy. Like, we don't normally, we're not high rollers. We're not. I mean, this is like on $1.50 bets, right?
Yeah.
And based off this, by the time we got home, we had offers for free cruises. They want you to come back. They want to get you on that cruise ship. Because they think they see how much money you're spending. Now, what we had done was literally just put the money they gave us back into the machine. So, I mean, technically they made money, but technically we didn't lose money. I mean, I guess we lost the money that we had won. I think everybody was happy. And so they offered us a free cruise. And I'm going to put the word free in air quotes because nothing about this cruise was free except for the cruise itself, I suppose. And they said, we will offer you a free cruise on the Carnival Spirit, which is currently docked in Barcelona. And it is a one-way cruise from Barcelona to Miami, Florida. So as I joked, we don't live in either of those places. Get off my throne! And so, just scratching the throne. And so, so that's the free part, was the cruise. And so if you listen to the first episode, where it basically ended was we had got a tour of Barcelona. Our tour guide dropped us off at a taxi stand. The taxi driver took us to the cruise ship. And now it's time to board the cruise. So that is where we will begin this second half, the second episode of You Don't Know Flack, where we are talking about our cruise and our experiences on the cruise. And there's a lot. There's a lot to take in. And by the way, I'm not sure how, Carol, I'm not sure how you're consuming this podcast, but it is both available on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. So you can find that at youtube.com/Rob O'Hara, or you may be listening to the audio feed of this, which will be a normal episode of You Don't Know Flack. So if you want to see Susan and I sitting on a couch in our home talking about this, and I will be showing pictures from the vacation. So if you want to see those things, tune in to the YouTube version. Otherwise, you could just listen to us. And so far, unfortunately, it's mostly been me. I haven't even given you a chance to talk. So why don't you talk about the embarkation process?
Okay, so first of all, Rob mentioned that the cruise was not free, and the reason is that when you get a free cruise and you're a baby gambler, you get a free interior room, which is basically like a floating coffin, no windows, right? And also you're going to be on that thing for 14 days together, which we're not doing that. So we upgraded not to a suite because they were sold out, but to a balcony room, which gave us a lot more space. And we chose...
And a window.
And a window
Or
and a balcony.
a sliding door and a
Beautiful
balcony. Yes,
right?
yes.
So,
CCC.
have we talked about that?
No, we'll get to
Okay.
it. Sure.
And so we chose a late embarkation because we wanted to have as much time in Barcelona as we could. So by the time we got to the Barcelona cruise port, I mean, it's basically like such a smooth process. This is my 10th cruise, and Barcelona was by far the smoothest embarkation process ever. It was like we walked in, we went straight to the check-in desk, we sat down and had a Coke for 2 minutes, and by the time we were not even finished with our Cokes, they said, okay, your group can board. And because we were late boarders, rooms are usually ready around 1:30. We went straight to our room and were able to drop off our backpacks. And then literally we shut down for a day and a half because we were so exhausted. And this was anticipated. First, Rob had a cold that he was coming down from. And second, I had us packed chock-a-block full from the minute we left Oklahoma City until the minute we got on the cruise ship. And so we intentionally planned some time to do absolutely nothing but rest and recuperate. So we did.
So first of all, how much were the Cokes, cans of Cokes? And by the way, cans of Coke in the UK, I mean, from the minute we left here till the minute we came home, cans of Cokes were not the same size. I don't know how much our can is probably 12 ounce, and those are like 10?
8 or 10, yeah.
Something like that, but they're
It's more of a
smaller. They're
treat.
noticeable smaller, right?
Yeah.
It's like a dessert. How much were those cans of Coke?
€4.50, which would translate to maybe $6, worth every freaking penny.
So while we were waiting to embark, Susan says, I'm going to go find something. She comes back with these cans of Coke. A woman comes over and says, where did you find Coke? And so, Coca-Cola and carbonated drinks in America, and did I say in the America, are a part of our life. I was going to say we're not heavy soda drinkers. We have become lately of diet soda. But going out to a restaurant, ordering a Coke, not a big deal. Having a Cokes at your house, not a big deal.
And by the way, we're from Oklahoma, so everything carbonated and sweet or non-sweet is a Coke. We don't really drink. We're not normally a Coke drinker.
Right, Coca-Cola, yeah.
Right, yeah.
And so, so as we went to, and we talked about this, I think, on the last episode, about London and, in Spain and stuff, like you kind of started to break us from this habit.
Yeah, we had a lot of coffee.
First of all, it's hard to get them. And second of all, they're expensive, right? So as we're in this terminal waiting to board, Susan says, I'm going to go find us something. She comes back with 2 Cokes. And so we're sitting there, we're drinking a Coke, and a woman approaches us and she's like, where did you get those Cokes? And Susan says, I got them. There's a place over there that sells them. And she says, how much are they? And Susan says, I think she said $3. She said they're like $3.
€3.50,
Yeah,
I think, yeah.
Something like that, right? And the lady goes, oh my God. And then she's telling her husband, they found Cokes. Like, it's a deal, right? And she leaves, and then she comes back and gives us this look and goes, okay, those are $4.50. That's like $6 US, And then
And we were like, we don't care. I just tapped my credit card and I wanted a freaking Coke.
I mean, if it had been $10, like, it doesn't. We don't even know how much they are,
Yeah.
and not like we're just like woo, like making it rain. But it just didn't matter. We just wanted a Coke.
I made a rule before we left on this trip, like whatever we want, we get on this trip, because this is the one time Rob's ever going to Europe, and everything we did, I booked way far in advance so that you could have the best experience.
So we're at a point where, like, if it's $5 or $6, doesn't. I won't say it doesn't matter, but I mean it doesn't matter. At that moment, it didn't matter. But she came back and like scolded us. She was like, "Those are like $5 or $6," and then went and sat back down without.
I would have given her half of my Coke.
And let me tell you, this is exaggerated, but I'm doing this where I'm like, enjoying this.
Wow, this podcast is going to take a long time.
I know we're not even on
We're
the
on the
ship.
ship yet.
We're talking about a Coke. Here's what I'll say about the boarding process, which is a predecessor to what we saw on the ship, which was when we have boarded in the past. Imagine a crowded TSA line section where something has gone wrong. That's how I would describe it. Like you go into the ship thing and there's 200 people and the line's not moving and you go, something's not working right here. Now, we have in the past a couple of times upgraded to a suite.
Yeah.
And when you do suite boarding, it's literally suite, S-U-I-T-E, and the boarding process is suite, S-W-E-E-T, because there's a huge line of people and they go, right this way, Mr. and Mrs. O'Hara, and you just circumvent the entire line and you just walk on the ship and it's like your VIP first class. So we did not have that on this time. But there was nobody there.
We didn't need it.
We're sitting around and there's just, it's almost like an airplane terminal. Like there's
At a private airport.
right, but there's seats and all. But we've got an entire row to ourselves and we're sitting there. We're like, where are all the people?
They're on the ship because it's 2 p.m.
But here's the other thing: is there's not that many people on this
That is
ship.
true because it's a repositioning cruise before spring break, 2 weeks long. So not very many
All these
kids
things against. I mean, not against it.
for us.
But it's positive for us. But it's right. It's not spring break. It's not a round trip, which means if you're either flying unless you happen to live in Barcelona or Miami, one of those two places. But you can't live in both.
This was really a trip for frequent travelers who aren't afraid to hop on a plane to Barcelona.
It's also a trip, we learned, for what they call back-to-back travelers or back-to-back-to-back-to-back-to-back-to-back travelers, where they not only are they going from Barcelona to Miami, but then people would say, oh, we're staying on because it goes from Miami through the Panama Canal to Seattle. And then we're staying on, we're doing a back-to-back-to-back because we're going from Seattle to Alaska and we're doing a back to, and so anyway.
And then we had side-by-side cruisers too, which I've never heard of. They got off of our ship and they literally took their suitcase and they went and they walked to the ship that was parked next door in Miami.
Yeah.
Side-by-side cruisers.
So anyway, but the point is, it's not. I mean, like when we do our cruises that go to Cozumel, and the typical, I just call it the generic, Mexico cruise or whatever. You go to Texas or you go to New Orleans and you get on a ship and you go to 3 places and then you go back to where you were and then you go home. So it wasn't that. So I think that cut down greatly. Carnival Spirit, I think, holds around 2,000 people, give or take.
2 to 3, yeah.
It's a smaller ship in their fleet.
Yeah.
And it was, I felt at most half capacity.
Yeah. So it was coming in from dry dock. And
45 days.
45 days in dry dock. And
which means?
They're refurbishing parts of the ship that need to be taken care of. They do some maintenance issues. They paint. On this particular dry dock, we know that they were redoing the entire spa, the fitness center, the casino. So areas that make them money is basically what they redid. We didn't notice anything in the rooms that had been redone.
Oh, I noticed things that needed to be redone.
They recarpeted all the public spaces in the ship too. So the carpet,
oh, you think?
Yeah, I know. The carpet was beautiful and new throughout the whole ship.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's fast forward. I mean, we've got our Cokes.
We step foot on the ship.
We get on the ship. Now again, in the past, there's a thing where it's like when you go to a hotel at noon and they go, room's not till 3. It's like that, right? It takes a long time to get your luggage to your room. It takes a long time before the rooms are ready to go in because they've come in the morning and people have gone off. Like they have to read. But we have boarded so late that we're able to just go directly to our rooms.
Which was it was planned that way. Mm-hmm. And there was no we have to go wait on the Lido deck and sit at the Lido deck and eat food for an hour before we can go anywhere because you've got your bags or whatever.
Right.
We just got on the ship and took a nap.
Yeah.
I mean, literally took our shoes off and took a long nap.
Also, during that time, you are prime target for the upsells. Would you like a drink? We'd like to sell you a drink. Would you like this? Would you like you know what I mean? Like when you can't go to your room, you're in those places where they're just pounding you with offers.
Oh, God, I love an embarkation day drink. They make them super strong, and it's always the rum punch.
Yeah.
Did not get one this time. That's okay, because we had been drinking pretty steadily the whole time.
What was it called? The
cruiser.
The cruiser, yes, that's their go-to drink. So we get on the ship, we go to our room. Now, I am a guy, when I go to a hotel room, I like to get double beds, and I put my suitcase on one, and I live out of the suitcase. I unzip the suitcase, I open it up, and then I don't even, so they don't have to make that better. That's where I live. Okay. When Susan goes to a place, the first thing she does is literally move in. She takes all of her clothes, she empties her entire suitcase, puts it in all the drawers, does all that. Maybe she brings artwork to hang on the walls. I don't know what all you do,
I've done that before.
But we're going to be in this room for 2 weeks.
Right, and the rule of thumb is if you're staying more than 2 nights anywhere, you should unpack.
And so we did. I mean, we did all this. We each have our own closet in this room with these sliding doors. And the first thing I notice is that the door, when you slide it over, it's supposed to latch to a thing, but my latch is just hanging off. Like it needs to be tightened, which in any other situation would not be a big deal, except we've been traveling through multiple countries and on a cruise ship. So the idea of that I've brought screwdrivers or tools with me is not a thing, right? So if I had a screwdriver, I could have easily fixed this, but I don't. I don't have a screwdriver. So that is going to come back, right? Because later, as we're moving, the door is going, it's like a pocket door. I mean, and it looks on rails, right? So we have to call in a maintenance thing. We're not calling a maintenance. We see our guy, Renell, and we say, Renell, our closet door needs fixing. And he says, oh, no problem. I mean, they will do anything, right? Now, the second thing is our room has 17 different variations of lights. There are lamps. There's lighting that goes around the outside of the room. There are LED lights that are recessed. There's lights over the desk. And all of these lights are also configurable. Like the LED lights, you can hold the button down and they'll dim, or you press it and then half come on and half come on. But when you turn on the LED pocket lights, one of them is like a strobe light. It's literally just going blah, 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 like that, and it's doing that to my brain. It's like Rocky 3 when Mr. T is just punching Rocky on the head. It's like that light is punching my brain. Like that. I just can't deal with it.
Well, you don't know, but at night, whenever you were laying in bed, I was doing that.
It's punching me in the head. And so we said, hey, Renell, there's something wrong with our light. And he goes, oh. And so when we came back one day, we turned on the lights, but we did it where only half the lights come on. And he said, did they fix it? And we went, yeah. And he says, great. And then we shut the door, and then I'm like, oh, only half lights are, and we turn on, and then the strobe light effect came right back on. So that never got fixed, but we just, I mean, there were so many other light options that it was easy to just.
You literally could operate on someone. There was so much light in that room.
Yeah.
Plus a sliding glass door, so there was light from the windows, right?
Natural light coming in. So it was you have anything else to say about that? I mean, no, so here's the next thing I will talk about the room is the location. Now, when you book a cruise ship, you pick the room that you want, right? Okay. Susan has done much research.
On everything in my life.
Everything in her life. And these ships have 3 banks of elevators. There's technically 4 because they're in the middle. There's 2 the glass ones.
Oh, the magic glass elevators?
Right.
Yeah.
But there are elevators in the rear of the ship, there are elevators in the middle of the ship, and then there are elevators in the front of the ship. Now, normally, on a normal cruise ship, elevators are like the bane of your existence, right? Like there have been times where we have said, if it's 3 flights of stairs or less, we're going to walk the stairs. Now, Susan's knees she already has bad knees and suffers from knee pain and a knee condition. On top of that, we have just walked all over God's green earth in 3 different countries. So her knees are not in a good way, right, by the time we get there. Mm-hmm. And so your strategy was, let's get us near elevators so that when we need to get elevators, the wait won't be as long, right? And I'm telling you, like, I want to describe this. On other cruises we've been on, every time, 6 a.m., 6 p.m., midnight, anytime you go to a bank of elevators, and we're talking 4, like in the middle, 4 elevators in a square, and you press up. First of all, when you get there, there are 15 other people there, okay? And so someone has already pressed up, and you're waiting, and the door opens, and there's already 10 people in that elevator, and then you go, ugh. And can you fit one more? Can one person
two
get
people
in there?
squeeze on, and then you wait.
And literally, like you're on the 3rd floor, and you go, I only got to go to the 5th floor. You go, God, let's just climb 2 more flights of stairs.
God, I can just skip dinner. Forget it.
And so, elevators on cruise ships are literally just this source of constant frustration. We're constantly waiting for an elevator, and not only that, you walk to the elevators and you press the button. You're the only people there, and then 3 people come up. And you've already hit the button, and then the elevator opens, but because there's 4, you can't be near all 4. So if one over here, the door over here opens, and those people go, oh, hey, and then they hop in the elevator where you hit the button. Like there's no...
Makes Rob crazy.
You know what? Let's have some decency, folks. It's a first in, first out. If
Rob
you're waiting for the elevator...
literally sing a little song. He's done it so many times in our life. Off and on says the elevator monkey.
You know what? It's a thing. It's a rule people should follow. If you're not following it, click like and subscribe. No, for more elevator tips. So here's my point. You have put all this work into this elevator strategy.
Can I tell it why?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So our room is right next to the elevator. You get off the elevator, you turn right, you see our room ahead of you. So
we're not next to the elevator. We're kind of behind the elevator.
But so this ship is not quite 1,000 feet long, but you have to think like you're always walking back and forth for everything, right? Well, I have thought about this, and I'm like, 1, it's easy to find your room if you're right by the elevator. Normally we decorate the door, but we didn't this time. 2, we are 3 stories directly below the buffet, where you can get ice and water 24/7.
Hop on the it's like being in a magic transporter. You go in the elevator, the doors closed, they open, you're at food.
There's the cookies. Or we're exactly 3 stories above our assigned dining room. So you get off the elevator and you're walking into the dining room. So it's perfect location, right?
Also, we're by the opening, which is, the elevators, when you go around, there's an opening that goes to the hallway that leads to the rooms. I don't know how many rooms are on that. Hundreds, right? But the thing is, if your room is halfway down, these hallways you have to adjust for 2 people to pass, right? So if people have got their crap in the, there's stuff out there, or there's dishes, or it's just a pain to walk around people to go down.
Like you're walking 250 feet to the elevator, 250 feet back every single time. Anyway, that's why. So we're there. One bad thing. Can I say it now? The bad thing about our location, the only bad thing about the location, is that we have paid for the premium Wi-Fi plan, which is like mandatory for our lives.
$20 a day.
Yeah.
I'm throwing it out there.
At least.
Oh, I thought it was more. Per person.
Per person, yeah. The one spot on the ship that you don't get Wi-Fi is when you're behind the elevator bank, because that big thing is just a big old massive steel box. And so Rob always takes the desk at any hotel room we go in. That's just kind of how we operate. We've got a little...
I got my laptop. You have your laptop too, but...
When he unpacks, like he's unpacking his whole laptop bag of chargers and this and that, like you have a way that you do it. And then I usually work on the little, there's a coffee table and stuff in our room. I usually set that up as my office area. And so I am right next to the front door. So I get Wi-Fi. Rob does not get Wi-Fi because he's located behind the bedroom or behind the elevator.
I don't want to make this super techy, but at some point, the Wi-Fi is so bad that I start pinging IP addresses that I know, like Google's DNS is a public IP address, 8.8.8.8, and you can ping it. And I'm just pinging it to see if I have connection to the internet, right? And like in my house, that is measured in small milliseconds. So you get a response from that just goes forever, and it says that took 10 milliseconds or 12 milliseconds or whatever. Mine is alternating between 3,000 milliseconds, which I didn't know was a thing, or it's just saying timed out, which I think I'm off the internet, but then it'll come back, but it's so slow. I go to a website and then I go to Facebook and I hit refresh and all the pictures disappear and it's just like, nope, you're not on the internet.
Right.
And then I'm like, oh, what am I going to do? And then a minute later, all the pictures started appearing. It was like dial-up. It was worse than dial-up internet.
Right. So in the meantime, I'm watching Netflix.
And she's 6 feet away.
I'm on Zoom calls.
Right.
I'm having meetings with my company. It's crazy, the dichotomy between the locations in the room.
So that is a problem in the room. But here's what I wanted to say, and to go back to the elevators. This ship this is the least populated ship I've ever been on in my life. Of all our cruises, this is the fewest amount of people I've ever seen on a cruise ship. And so when we walk out, we're like, hey, let's you got to plan ahead. We got to be to the dining room in 10 minutes. Let's go try to catch an elevator. And we come out to the bank of 4 elevators, and we're the only people there. I'm like, where is everybody? And you hit the up button, and there's an elevator waiting on our floor, and it opens. There's nobody in it, and we get out, and then we go up. The whole trip, 14 days. It was the most heavenly elevator experience I've ever had on a cruise ship, and will probably ever have.
Or anywhere. Right. Amen. Let's move on.
That was the wrong key.
There is no key for angels. They sing it however they want.
Every key is heavenly. So the elevator thing is fantastic, right? Okay, so we're on the cruise ship. We've talked about the room. There's a few things that need to be updated. So let's talk about what our cruise is going to be. We're going to be on this ship for 14 days.
Yeah.
With 4 stops.
Right. So it's a transatlantic crossing. You should come prepared if you're crossing any ocean that it's going to be rough seas. That's just how the ocean works.
I didn't know that.
It's a big ocean,
I didn't
right?
know that.
So Rob comes. Oh, hang on just a second. I'm sorry, everybody. Rob uses these patches. They're seasick patches called scopolamine. Life-changing for someone who has seasickness. He always puts his patch on within 30 minutes, one way or the other, of getting on the ship.
We took our very first cruise, which was for our honeymoon. Was a 4-hour cruise, which was barely even a cruise. We didn't have a room.
It was a ride.
Right. And we went from Miami to the Bahamas, and then we stayed there for 3 days or whatever and came back. The whole time we were on the ship, I was seasick. The entire time. It was like motion sickness, and I don't... People say, do you normally get motion sickness? I didn't know till then. That's how I found out. I found out on a cruise ship.
You found out.
It's a bad time to find out that you have motion sickness in the ocean, because you can't be like, let me off. So you're on. These patches are miracles. I've talked about it probably on every podcast I've ever done about cruise ships. But Susan has noticed a pattern when I put these things on.
The side effects are exactly like whenever you have hypoglycemia. So you put it on, the medicine is just like right there, subcutaneous, so it's going straight through your system. You get sweaty and clammy, then you get mean, and then you fall asleep, just like hypoglycemia. And so we predict it now. And so at first, when he was using them, we would put them on 30 minutes before you got on the ship, and then embarkation was terrible for everyone around, because you got to the mean phase. You got stressed and anxiety. It causes anxiety. It's weird. Now we know, well, hey, the ship's not moving. Get on the ship, put it on, and then go take a freaking nap. And then no one has to suffer.
Right.
It's
So
awesome.
Susan will either be on her laptop or sometimes...
Gone.
Right. I'll be like, I'm taking this patch. I'm going to lay down for a nap or whatever. And she'll say,
Bye.
I'm going to go get food. I'll see you around.
I'm going to go hit that chocolate chip cookie bar.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. So what do we want to talk about next on
Okay,
the,
so
on the ship?
So I wanted to tell you about the itinerary before we get
Yes.
to the So it's a 14-day cruise, and it's got sea days sprinkled in the middle of it. So it's like we're doing Barcelona, and then we have a sea day, and then we have Malaga, and then we have two ports in a row, Malaga and Cadiz, which is Seville.
They're both in Spain.
Right, and then we have 2 sea days, and then we go to the Azores Islands, which is part of Portugal. And then we have 4 sea days. Then we have Bermuda, and then we have 2 sea days, and then we're home. So it's like sprinkled throughout. It was a lot of sea days.
They're not equidistant. The first 2 were like small, and then we're heading across the Atlantic, and then it's big.
Yeah, it's like puttering your way around Spain for just. I mean, it's a pleasure cruise. It's not meant to haul ass across the Atlantic.
I mean, the captain
Right.
comes on. They make their announcement in the morning, and he's like, "Hello, passengers. We're traveling." At 15 knots or something.
Yeah, I mean, we're walking.
You're looking out the ship. Like there are times when you see the water going by on the ship, and then you're on the outside deck walking, and you're like, I'm walking at the same speed the ship is going.
And then we just got passed by a paddleboarder.
A seal.
Right. Oh my God.
So that's the itinerary. We've got 4 stops. And we have excursions planned. Do you
Everywhere.
want to say what each one of the excursions are?
Well, yeah. So we have these sea days. We use the first sea day to relax. Let's just leave it at that. Like we didn't even go to our assigned dinner. We were just eating like random crap on the ship or whatever. So the first port is the port of Malaga, which is the site.
And just hit like high level of what these are.
Okay, Malaga is a place in Spain that has beautiful. It's like being in Italy. That's
And what's
all
the point of that excursion?
So we are doing a general tour. and we're just like doing the highlights of Malaga, right?
And they're dropping us off at the end at a town square.
At a piazza, right? Like a public square, which I love. These I could live in Europe on a public square and be a happy camper for the rest of my life, right? The second port is Cadiz or Seville's. It's Seville's inland a little bit, and we went to what's called the bodega, where they make sherry, like it's fancier than wine.
It's a company called
Tío Pepe.
Tío Pepe.
And they have, they also make brandy. They have literally been in business for more than 100 years, and they have literally purchased a former village and use the town village buildings as they expand their wine storage barrels. Their storage barrels that's the bodega part. So that's what we want to go see. We do like a general tour first, and then we go there.
General tour of the town, then of the bodega, and then some wine tasting.
And then the sherry tasting, which was the best thing that could have ever happened on that trip.
All right.
Then 4 days at sea.
Yes.
No, then 2 days at sea. And then we go to the Azores Islands, which are beautiful volcanic islands. Not a lot to do, but it is beautiful, and
That's owned by Portugal.
Owned by Portugal, and beautiful. That's all I
And
can
the point
say.
of that excursion is
We went to go see the 2 lakes that are in the caldera of the volcano, and in the middle of the caldera, it's extinct. There is a town that's got a population of 800 people, and we spent some time walking around there, and Rob discovered the beauty of ketchup flavored chips.
just a basic tour.
Basic
You're
tour.
supposed to be telling what the excursions are.
Okay, the 4th excursion for us is in Bermuda, and that was an island tour, like a boat island tour of rich people and famous people.
Rich and famous people's houses on a boat.
Right. And then our last stop was Miami, where I had planned a trip to an outdoor mall that's right by the cruise ship to get our iris photos taken, and then we went to the airport. So that's our trip.
That's our trip.
Okay, the end.
So I don't even know what to talk about. I don't want to get into the excursions quite yet. I want to talk about some of the things we did on the ship.
So entertainment things?
Entertainment things on the ship. I think the first and biggest, like the elephant in the room, is the casino.
Oh, God, yeah.
So the casino is, first of all, I talk about casinos a lot. I've done a podcast about casinos. We go to our local casino. People think that we're like big casino people. We're not big casino people. Like we go to our local casino once a month, and we each take $100 and
It's our entertainment budget.
And
It's
here's
not-
the thing.
yeah.
It is, not only is that our entertainment budget, but most of the time it funds itself. So if we take $100 and we win $200, we put it in what's called the butter sock. And we put that money back in the sock, and the next time we go to the casino, we take money out of the butter sock. So it's not like we're taking money out of an ATM once a month to go to a casino, right? We're just
You
using
actually
the same
keep a
money.
spreadsheet, right?
We did, and we took I haven't done it this year, but we did it last year.
Don't do it this year.
And
The cruise.
and I think at the end of the year we were up like I don't know, it was
Little.
like $400 or $500 or something like that, right? So I mean, it's not a pastime of ours really, or whatever.
Not
It's
an
just-
addiction. Let's put it that way.
right,
Yeah.
okay.
No.
So when we went on that last cruise, we got a free cruise because of what we'd spent in the casino. So not only do they want us to go to the casino, I mean, they're not asking us, but to entice us, they have put an asterisk on our thing that says we also get a free drink package while we're in the casino. Now, the alcohol drink package, I believe, is $90 a day per person. So if you are adults and you're traveling together, both people in your party have to have it, because guess what? They figured out that someone might be sharing drinks with someone else. So if there's 2 adults, you both have to have it. So you do the math, but we're talking about 14 days on a cruise ship, and we would have each had to pay $90, so $100 a day times 14 days.
Right.
That's expensive.
Right.
You have to really like alcohol.
Right. And so one note, the average cost of any cocktail on a cruise ship is about $15 right now. Beers are about $8. So, and you get 15 drinks a day on the package.
Maximum. Right. They will cut you off at 15 drinks.
And they
Ask
know.
us how we know.
They know. Yeah, we do know.
So, not from this cruise, but from previous cruise, we know. So, that's kind of what's getting us into the casino. Now, Susan wants to go to the casino to relax, to play some games, to chill out, to have fun,
To take in some secondhand smoke.
take in some secondhand smoke. I mean, it's almost literally
It's like there are 2 places you can smoke on a ship. We're not smokers. The casino is one of them.
right. Where's the other?
Usually on deck 5 outside, like one side.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I only want to go to the casino to take advantage of our free drink package. It's not because I want to get drunk. It's not because I'm dying for alcohol. It's because they owe us this. They have promised us free drinks, and I'm getting them.
And by God, he did.
I mean, it's a thing, right? And so we go to the casino. Now, we've been to many cruises and casinos, and you pony up to the bar and you say, hey, give me a drink, or whatever. Okay.
Howdy.
I think, howdy, partner. Go through the saloon doors. Give me an old sarsaparilla.
That's what he said every time.
I did, with a 10-gallon hat on. And so I believe this is part of the thing that they did in dry dock, part of the fixing up or whatever. They have removed the bar from the casino. There's no bar.
Which is the dumbest thing ever, because people do buy drinks at the bar.
And not only is it dumb for that reason, but it's dumb because the wait staff that are going around, the servers that are taking people's drink orders to get them filled, used to go to the bar right there. They would say, hey, this guy wants to take it. They would come back and they would get it to you, right? But now they're going to bars at other parts of the ship.
Some unknown location.
Either to the middle of the ship or on Serenity.
I don't know what they're doing.
I don't know where they're going, but I mean, they have to go. They have to leave the casino. They have to go somewhere else to get your drink. Okay, we find a machine. I think it was Huff and Puff or something. It was like I find a machine, the cheapest machine I could bet 75 cents per spin. I'm sitting on a machine. And of course, you put your card in because it's kind of a cashless society here on the cruise ship. I mean, you can't put money in the machine, but we've put our card in.
You don't want to get money out. Try and get money out, though.
No, I did that on
Oh, God, that's a whole story. Anyway, yeah.
And I bet 75 cents. And I'm like, where is the server? Where's the guy that's going to give me a free drink? And I'm waiting and I'm waiting. And he's nowhere to be found. 75 cents. And Susan's like, just have a good. I'm like, no, I'm not here for it.
I'm here for the freaking free drinks.
I want my drinks. It's on my thing that they said, come to Spain, come for the casino, stay for the drinks. That's what I'm doing. I mean, I see the server, and he is so far away in this casino. And the thing is, he talks to 3 people and go, what do you want? What do you want? And he gets their drinks, and now he leaves. And then 5 minutes later, he comes back with their drinks, and then he goes to the people right next to him are like, can we have a drink? And then they leave. And people are hitting up this guy, but there's no hitting up the guy. He's busy.
Right. So here's the funny thing about that. Rob, the whole time, if you see a waiter from across the room, you're like, hurry, whatever. Okay, so the waiters wear light blue shirts, and so does the housekeeping staff in the casino.
That's true. They're dressed
And
identically.
the only difference is one of them's carrying a tray and one of them's carrying a bucket where they're going around picking up like dirty ashtrays and drink cups. I can't tell you how many times people have tried to order drinks from the housekeeping staff.
Oh, I mean, I literally told a lady I want a rum and Coke, and she was carrying a vacuum cleaner. So now, she
Brought you one.
And she was a passenger. So
Why'd she carry a vacuum?
now, here's my plan to start getting drinks, okay? My plan is to become recognizable. Right.
Which it turns out he is anyway.
The beard is already doing wonderful things. People see me and they go, oh, it's a guy with the beard, right? But when the server comes by, I put my finger in his chest and I turn to Susan and I go, this man right here, hardest working guy on a ship. And the guy kind of laughs, right? But here's the thing. I said that to every single server.
Nervously.
Every single time I saw them, right? And so the people would come back and maybe it would be a different guy. And I'd tell Susan, I go, this guy right here, hardest working guy on the ship. And he would laugh. But then they start coming back. And I go, hey, this guy right here. And then he laughs and I laugh because he knows what I'm about to say. I go, hardest working guy on the ship. So they know me from this little pattern that I'm doing.
I would love to know what they say about you.
They probably go back and they go, hey, I'm the hardest working guy on the ship. I go, hey, guy told me that too. And then I bust, they all know it, right? But so I'm starting this thing, right? The other thing that I think set us apart, the second of 3 things, is that we have a recognizable and repeatable drink order. We're not these people that are like, can you make a special? No, I'm not doing that, right? Here's the deal. I want a rum and Coke. You want a rum and Coke.
I don't really want a rum and Coke, by the way.
Here's the thing.
Not a
You can
super
order
big drinker.
one drink at a time. She's not a big drinker, but she's going to get rum and Coke for me. Now, I will tell you this. We figured out a way to beat the system because I just told you cans of Coke are like $5, and our drink thing does it cover?
You can get free drinks in the casino, but drinks on the ship are not free. I mean, soda is not free.
No.
It's $4.50 a can.
Okay.
Right?
So here's our plan. I order a rum and Coke, which they bring me. And by the way, it's not Coke, it's Pepsi. They bring
All
me
Pepsi
a
products, yeah.
Bacardi and Pepsi. This is rum and Coke. She says, "Can I have mine separately? I like to mix it myself or whatever." They say, "Sure." And so they bring her. At first, they start bringing her a shot of rum, and then a can of Pepsi and a glass. And they say, "Here you go." And so the first thing that happens is I do the shot of rum. And then she takes the can of Pepsi and puts it in her backpack, which we're going to take later and hoard in our room like
We
rats.
split them. Like we were starting to split them. Because
Yeah.
I have a bottle of water with me at all times, all the time.
Right.
Right?
And then I have my rum and Coke. So everybody wins. Well, you don't get a drink. So
I don't care, though. I don't
Right.
really care about
But
it.
here's the thing. It said free drinks, and I'm getting them. It's working.
Chill out. You got them.
All right. I'd like one now. So we have rum and Cokes for a couple days, but then I'm kind of tired of rum and Cokes, plus we have like 4 Pepsis. It's like, it feels like you've like Fort Knox.
I think a lot of people hoard stuff on cruise ships.
Yeah.
Cruise ships, yeah.
Then we change our order up. We say, well, first of all, we said, "Hey, can you make me an Irish coffee?" And the guy goes, "No." I go, and he says, "I have to go get coffee somewhere else. I have to go this part of the ship to go get coffee, and then I have to go this part of the ship to go get that." And I go, forget it. I go, "There's other drinks I like." I mean, there's a lot of drinks I like. One drink I like is every drink. So,
Except for Bloody Marys.
anything
Anything tomato based.
I don't like tomatoes, right? But you know what? If you could somehow siphon out the V8 and then give me one, that'd be fine, right? I'd say, okay, yes, I'll give you that. Other than Bloody Marys, I like every other drink. But you know what I really like is a White Russian. Now, why do I like White Russians? We discovered White Russians from the Big Lebowski and the Dude Abides and all that stuff. There was a local place that sold a drink called the Dude Abides, which was a reference to the movie. But I like White Russians.
Yeah.
And
It's cream, Kahlua, vodka.
people know how to make it.
Yeah.
It's pretty hard to screw it up. And here's the other thing. I don't think a lot of people are ordering them, right? So they start to know that we're the White Russian couple, right?
Hello.
Natasha. So the guy comes by and I'm like, "Hey," I go, "hardest working guy at the cruise ship right here." And he goes, "Oh, what can I get for you?" I go, "We'll take 2 White Russians." And literally when they bring us the drinks, now here's my other joke that I keep doing. You have on your card, you have a sail and sign card that stays with you all the time. You have this card, you show it to people, you use it to get into your room, you use it to order anything, pay for anything. You use it to start the slot machines, and you use it to order drinks. Anything that's going to get charged to your room, they have to see it. It has a 5-digit number on it. Susan's number is 82055. Mine's 82054. And so every time the waiter comes, he says, "Oh, can I get your number?" And Susan says, "Mine's 82055. And I go, "Mine's 82054. And I go, "And I don't even know this lady. Isn't that weird?" And then they go, "Huh?" And by the way, I'm sure they hate my jokes. I'm sure they hate it, right? But my point is not to entertain. I mean, it is now. But then it's not. I mean, it is sort of to entertain, but also it's so they'll remember me, right? Because the more they remember you, then when you come into the casino, and they're like, "There's my guy, and he drinks White Russians, and he's sitting," and then they come over, and it worked. They start coming over. They're coming over more frequently.
I have a theory about that.
But I have a third theory about why they're coming more frequently.
I think it's your third theory too. It has nothing to do with your personality. So on the screen, there's a screen on every.
This is the third
on
thing.
every casino slot machine, and that screen tells how many dollars you have spent in the
Well,
casino.
it's points. It's counting points.
A point is $1 spent. Did you know that?
Yes, but it's not really.
It's not a real dollar.
Because here's the right. Because okay, so let's say you put in $100, and all day long, you go up to 200, and then you lose it. You go down to 100, and then you go up to 200, and then you go down to 100. So at the end of the day, you would think I have 100 points, but that's not right. Every time you spin the wheel of $100, $1.50 or whatever, you go up 150 points. And it's doing it all. So when you went all the way up to 200, your thing went up 200 points. And all those spins where you lost money, it went up another 200. You know, so it's
not real money.
Constantly, right. It's like Jeopardy money, right? It's constantly going up. So
hold on. They have it on the screen where you put your card in and you poke in like how to get your money and stuff like that. That number is 3 times as big as anything else on the screen. And when those waiters walk by, they go, "Oh, you've spent $1,000? Okay, I'm going to start coming to you." Right. Our number got bad over the course of 15 days.
Right, because it stays with your card. So, I mean, early on, I was like, man, I can't get these guys' attention, right? When our thing started to get to 1,000 points, they start coming by and they're like, oh, because they, you know, but also, I mean, at one point there, the guy comes by and he's like, hey, 2 White Russians. So they know us.
And we're like, oh, spasiba. Hey.
But we're like, we're undercover. Don't blow our cover. We're 2 White Russians on a cruise ship. But the number's going up, right? Then at one point, it's like 1,500. And I'm like now they're like, you know, we're starting to get some respect. Put some respect on my name in this casino. But I'm going to tell you, when it gets to 3,000, and by the way, this is both of our cards, right? When it hits 3,000, I mean, the lady with the vacuum cleaner will bring you a drink. I mean, it is like, I'm embarrassed of how high the number got, but I think that I spent about $300. I think I took out about $300. You think it's more? It felt like $300. But it's over 2 weeks.
That's how they get you.
Right, it is how they get you. But all I was concerned about was I mean, I definitely drank $300 worth of alcohol.
Oh, yeah, because I could see on our bill.
Carol,
not
get off the camera.
I could see on our bill every time that you got a drink because you still have to sign a paper. And we always left like a 50-cent tip for every time they brought. So for the 30...
And tips are included, so this is like above and beyond.
Yeah,
right?
They automatically get gratuities anyway. Carol, no ma'am. Okay. 37 drinks in the casino.
I mean, I made it pay off. Times...
$15.
$50, right? Okay.
$555.
I do want to tell a story of the last night that we visited the casino.
Carol O'Hara? No, ma'am.
Carol. I'm going to have to edit this up. So, the last night we go to the casino, we go and we find the machines that we like. And Susan she is at a different machine. I'm at these machines. And my guy comes by and I go, hey, and he goes, hardest working guy in the casino? I go, eh. And he goes, 2 White Russians? And I go, you bet. And he brings me 2 White Russians, one for me, one for Susan, who's not there, right?
But he knows the drill. They've been watching us.
Right. But Susan also gets 2 White Russians. So I immediately just drink a White Russian, put it over. And by the way, I will say this. Once our points started getting to around 1,500 or whatever, I noticed that the drinks got stronger.
Yeah.
Like I think we started getting
They're
doubles.
like, hey, they make bad decisions. Get them drunk.
Right. So then I'm drinking a second White Russian. Then Susan comes over. She's like, I got us 2 White Russians. I'm like, so did I. So now, I mean, I'm having 4 in a very short period of time. I'm drinking 4 White Russians that are doubles. Right.
And we walked in with a glass of sherry.
Oh,
that
yeah.
We bought a bottle and we were drinking it around on the ship. It was so strong. That one glass would kind of give both of us a buzz. It was
like 20%, 18%.
Yeah, it was fine.
But we're chugging it because that's who we are. So, I mean, we show up a little tipsy. I drink 2 White Russians, and then she's like, hey, I got 2 White Russians. I'm like, well, give me 1. And I had that third one. So this is a third double White Russian on top of the sherry. And I'm like, I got to slow down. I got to sit down here for a second. So I kind of, I'm like, let's slow this party down, right? And there's still a full White Russian left, you know.
And here comes the voice of James Earl Jones. But did he slow down? No, he did not slow down.
And so Susan says, Rob, here's what we're going to do. Because she's like, well, you're going to abandon that drink. And I'm like, the hell I'm not, no. They will be my free drinks. She says, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take you up to the buffet. We're going to get a little food in you. We're going to sober you up a little bit. You can sit up there. And then we're going to go back to the room. I said, okay. Is that what happened?
No, it is not what happened.
So Susan said, I'm going to go to the bathroom, and then we're going to do that. And so while she's at the bathroom, two things happen. Number one, I finished the fourth White Russian. But then number two, the guy comes by, and I go, hey, 2 more White Russians. He goes, okay. So, so when Susan goes back to the bathroom, I'm like, I don't know who ordered these, because when you're drunk, everything's funny. And I was like, you know. And
Turned into Scooby-Doo.
I did. I was like, Russian. And so I drink. That was a terrible Scooby-Doo. And so I drink the 5th White Russian, and now I'm like, oh, I'm in trouble. I'm like, I shouldn't have done that. That's the first bad
So
decision
then
I've
guess
ever
what he
made.
did?
Well, I took the 6th one with me. We took it up to the buffet. But I will say this: when the waiter came by for that last round, and I want to preface this by saying this: all I've ever wanted in life is a bar like Cheers, where I go in and people go, Norm,
That's all he ever wanted.
and they just know me. They're like, Rob, you know, which we have a breakfast place that's like that now. They know us.
Went there today.
Right.
Oh, went there yesterday.
And so they say like, you know, that's all I want. I want to be recognized, right? And the thing is, when the waiter came by, and I thought I was there, and the waiter comes by and he goes, 2 White Russians? And I'm like, I made it. I made it, right? And then he goes, 82054, right? And I go, yeah. And then I go, oh my God, he's memorized the 5-digit number on my card. That's a little too.
And now he can shop freely on the ship with your portfolio number.
Probably could. I thought I've gone, I'm too much of a regular.
It was time for the trip to end.
It was time, yeah. So,
You're
great
number-
time at the casino. What'd you say?
Yeah. Did we win anything? Nah.
Nah. I mean, we won, we lost.
We didn't do anything stupid, but you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really all I have to say about the casino.
So for other entertainment things, I want to talk about this. So if you've never been on a cruise, do not plan on watching television in your room.
No, yeah.
So I want to talk about that. And there actually was a comedian that was talking about this, and it's true. The channel range goes from like 1 to 35. Half of them don't work. More than half of them are cruise sales and like safety briefings and stuff like that. And then there'll be the BBC, so European news, some sports channel, European based, and then a few channels that are normally like the ship cameras, and my favorite channel, the map channel, which is the dumbest thing ever. But because I'm
It's literally just like Google Maps, just like blip, that's where you are.
I'm
in
a
the
planner, I'm a studier. It tells you the latitude and longitude, the temperature, how fast we're traveling, and I would watch this 24/7 because that's who I am, right? Then there usually are 3 other channels on all Carnival ships for some reason. It's home TV, HGTV, and then travel channel, and then some terrible movie channel that you would never watch. Like it's movies I would never.
Well, then there's usually a kids movie channel.
Yeah, but like unless you like the map channel, it's out.
It's literally like this. How I would, like if you were to say like if you have all these channels, I would say like 45% are channels that are put on by them, where they're like, hey, you know, there's like it'll be like people buy art on cruise ships, and it'll be all about, and then they're like, by the way, we have an art thing on the cruise ship. And then 45% are like you said, like literally the map channel. There's a channel where somebody's put a GoPro on the top of the ship facing forward, so if you want to see the front deck and the ocean, like there's a channel for that. And then the 10% are like these 4 or 5 channels, and they're awful. So the last time we went on a cruise and we had upgraded to a suite, Susan said, why don't you bring an HDMI cable? We'll take it from your laptop, we'll plug it into the TV, and then we can watch stuff. Plus we have Wi-Fi, right? So not only can we watch Netflix and stream things like that, but I've brought a USB stick that's full of movies and TV shows and things like that. Like I brought Ted Lasso on the last cruise ship, which we had never watched. We ended up falling in love with. We watched many episodes. I think we watched the whole first season of Ted Lasso on the ship because there's a lot of downtime. During the day, there's that nap time, but then at night you go back to your room and you're not ready for bed, but you know, it's wind down time. So you watch a movie, this, that. So So, that's kind of the plan. So I have done the same thing again. Not only have I brought an HDMI cable for my laptop, but I purchased a few months ago, and I haven't really had a good time to test it yet, but a wireless HDMI connector. So it's a transmitter, it's a receiver. You put one on your laptop, you put one on a TV, and it's a wireless HDMI cable. So this is the plan. This is going to be our entertainment for this. And I plug this thing in, and then, first of all, so the TV there's two ways to control this TV. This TV is probably a 13-inch TV. This TV, if I tried to give this TV to you for free, you would not take it.
It's like a prisoner TV.
It was like smaller than your laptop monitor, and it's mounted on this thing, at the other end of the room. And there are touch controls on the front, like touch sensitive. There's no actual physical buttons, like sometimes there's buttons on the bottom of a monitor. I mean, I know this intimately. I have touched this monitor more than the time I got the personal TSA search. I mean, I have run my fingers in every crack and crevice of this monitor. There's no physical buttons, there's nothing. There's touch sensitive buttons on the front, and then there's a remote that looks like a child's waterproof version of a remote.
It really does. It looks like a play school remote.
I'm sure it probably is waterproof. Like it's literally, it's like, because I'm sure they sanitize them.
Definitely a remote to wipe off.
Right, but I'm sure
Yeah.
they do that. You know what I mean? And it has change channel up, down, volume left, right, power on and off. There's not that many buttons on this thing. Okay. There's certainly not a change input button. Now, the channel feed that's coming into this television is coming from a coax cable connection. And it gets split 100 zillion trillion times through every connection, in the whole ship. But there's also an HDMI and there's a USB input, right? So I'm like, hey, I could take the USB stick and put it in there, and we could maybe somehow get the TV to show movies off that, or if that, I could use the HDMI. But I can't switch inputs. It's stuck on the only input, which is their stupid TV feed. And so I'm trying every trick in the book. There's no button, no touch sensitive button on the front. The buttons don't even work. Like I'm like, oh, there's an input. The only thing that works is on and off on the TV. I'm pressing all the buttons. They don't do anything. It's all been disabled somehow. There's no button on the remote to switch input. Here's a trick I try. I turn the TV off. I unhook the coax thing because I'm thinking maybe I could trick the TV if there's only HDMI input. Then when you turn it on, it'll default to HDMI. It won't. There's no way to switch it to HDMI. So it never worked. Now, how did we overcome this? We watched stuff on our laptop, which we just put the laptop in the bed.
On a thing, my laptop screen was as big as the TV.
As big as the TV, yeah. Right? And so it was, and in fact, if it's in the bed, it's even larger because the TV is further away. Now,
I held it up to my eye.
Right, I sat there like this. It was gigantic. I looked online, and I Googled. I was like, well, have they changed something? Well, first of all, I found out this. I mean, obviously, they intentionally don't want you doing this, and they've disabled this.
Super glued the ports.
I mean, I don't know why they just don't, do that. And in fact, on the back there was literally a plaque on the back of this thing that said Hotel TV. It says that on the back. Oh. So, three things I'm going to say about this. Number one, when we were in a suite, previously on a suite, they don't disable it.
TVs are a lot bigger in a suite.
Oh yeah, there's
sometimes we've had two TVs.
Two TVs.
Yeah.
Larger TVs, and you can switch inputs. Not in a normal room. That's been disabled. Number two, I did some Googling, and I found the solution that everybody uses. And then everybody says, don't tell everybody else what the solution is, because then once the word gets out, and everybody knows what the solution to this is, then they'll block it. But I'll give you a hint. The remote we had didn't really have all the buttons I needed to do this, but maybe there are other remotes that do have the buttons that you need. So if you had brought a different remote,
I think you just gave it away, ding dong.
it did. But
We even shopped for a remote in a couple of ports.
we did. We were like, does anybody have a
Thing.
a remote that could be universal, that could apply to universal situations?
Remoto.
But it didn't work. So, I mean, if we cruising, and again, it's not a huge part of our
It would make Rob so happy to win. I don't care if we never.
That's
watch
the
TV
thing, is
again.
it's the challenge to get it to work more than watching, 50-year-old movies that I brought.
It's just beating the system. It's just like that time that we went on a cruise and I'd said, hey, put your swimming suit on when we get on the ship because everybody else's bags are checked and they're waiting on them. And we're going to go straight to the hot tub, which we did.
Mm-hmm.
And we had the entire hot tub area to ourselves for a couple of hours before people started getting their swim trunks.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't that we were in the hot tub. It was that we beat the system. And you were such a happy boy.
We did. So it would have been nice to have. Here's the third thing I will say about that whole thing, which is, I've forgotten what it was. It was the TV, it was disabled. It was about getting a remote that might be universal. And the third thing was that I looked up, because I know that there are apps. There are apps like on the iPhone store, remote apps.
Right.
I bought a Samsung, or not a Samsung, a Roku TV or Samsung, whatever it was. But they said, get the app. And there's an app on my phone where I could control the TV. So I went that angle. I thought, maybe I could get an app, right? But the first thing is, I didn't know this, but the apps require you to be on the same LAN, like in your house, right? So there's, with the wireless on there's no way that was going to work. And every app I downloaded was like, this is a universal app and it's free. And then the minute you get it, it goes, it's free, but only the 7 button works. But if you want all the other buttons, you got to pay $9.95 a month or something. So I just deleted them as fast as I got them.
We basically didn't watch anything on the TV other than the map channel. We did have the funniest idea. They don't care how many bags you bring on a ship, right? We literally talked about bringing a television on the ship, like going to Walmart, getting a brand new TV. Wouldn't it be hilarious to bring like a 55-inch TV and put it on the cruise ship? They can't stop you.
Just carry it in or whatever. I mean, and definitely like at some of the places, if we'd had enough time, like we could have taken an Uber to Walmart and go buy a TV and come back in and carry it on and then just ditch it or something, you know what I mean?
Take it back to Walmart when you get home.
Oh, yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
Okay. So that's way too much on the TV. On cruise ships, there are many different types of entertainment. If you're on a 3-day cruise or a 5-day cruise, it's really just the entertainment to get you in between point A and point B. Like you want to be here, but we're going to be on the ocean for a day. So let's keep these dummies, occupied, right?
So they don't mutiny.
Right.
Yeah.
There were many, many types of entertainment that we did not visit or whatever because we've done them in the past. We didn't go play bingo. We've played bingo in the past. You like bingo. I don't care about bingo. So we were trying to find things that we both liked doing. There was a thing that we wanted to do, which is one of those where like a wine and paint or whatever the name of that. Like we wanted to do that, but we ended up missing it or whatever. Now, let me tell you about one thing that I love, and on cruises in the past, when especially my daughter, she loves this. We love trivia contests.
All of us.
Cruise ships have, as Susan and I played Jeopardy. We watched Jeopardy every night on TV. So we love trivia. We love learning trivia and trivia games, and we're competitive. But the competition on cruise ship trivia is out of this world, and first of all, I'm just going to say this. There's a lot of cheating that goes on.
Of course there's a lot of cheating. Plus people, they literally get on these forums before the cruises and they find who other trivia players are and they gang up and they form teams in advance. Because
when you do trivia, you can be a team or you can be a solo person. There's people gang up to do trivia. And also, there's certain types of trivia that are going to be on every single ship. Every single ship is going to have a Disney trivia challenge. There's going to be a Harry Potter trivia challenge. There's going to be certain things.
I always have Friends for some reason.
A Friends trivia thing. And so go online and you Google and you go Carnival Cruise Disney trivia, and you'll find all the questions that they end up pulling from or whatever. So now, the way these trivia contests work is you go into a public place, you get a card that has 20 blank lines on it, and the person that's running the trivia, they will ask a question. They will say whatever the theme is, where they will ask a question. Sometimes they'll repeat it. You write your answer on the card, and then they move to the second one. So they do that 20 times. And then at the end of this, all the ones on this ship, they just had us score ourselves.
Which, that's unusual.
It's a huge opportunity for cheating. And again, I don't understand the cheating. Like, why do you want to cheat to say that because I should bring it out. But
Go get it in a second.
well, I will go get it in a second because you get a small token trophy when you win the trivia contest. Or a trivia contest. And it has the name of the ship on it, so which we found out because my daughter has one from a different ship. So sometimes these trivia contests end with people tying because they get all 20 questions right, and then they have to do like a drawing or a crowd clapping.
A trivia off.
Yeah, it's silly, And so, like, I mean,
It's
to
silly,
me,
but it's serious.
it's the thing is, there are things in life I would like competitions I would cheat. You know what I'm saying? If I were trying to get into years ago I did those Microsoft exams, right? And it was like I had to have it for my job, and it's not cheating, but it's like I went and I found out what the questions were, and I studied those questions.
You went to brain dumps, yeah.
Right, I did a cram session and stuff, and then I went and like that sort of thing, right? But a friendly thing, like we DVR Jeopardy. I'm not going to watch today's Jeopardy and get all the answers just so I could beat them.
Oh, I would be so mad.
But why? Why would you? We enjoy the competition.
Also, now we're old enough where it doesn't matter if I watched it in advance. I'm still not going to remember.
I didn't remember them. So I want to take us back slightly before I get to the trivia because we've had these 4 ports scheduled, these 4 excursions. We had one, it was good. Well, it wasn't good.
It wasn't good.
Then we had the second one, it's pretty good. Then the next day, the captain gets on. And the captain gets on in the PA system. He does this every day. And he says, hello, everybody. Blah, blah, blah. We're traveling east. We're at longitude 33. And we're going 15 knots and blah, blah, blah. We expect it's going to be 70 degrees. Blah, blah, blah. He just gives you this little information dump, right? We get on the ship. We've been on the ship for 3 days. And he says, hello, everybody. This is your captain. And I'm just letting you know to expect rough travel while we are in the Atlantic Ocean for the next 8 days or whatever. It's like when you get on an airplane and the pilot says, there's going to be turbulence the whole time, sit down and buckle up. The captain of the ship literally said, we're going to be closing outdoor areas. We're going to be closing swimming pools. Don't go near outside railings or decks. It's going to be rough. And it was. Now it's not rough in the sense where like turbulence, where you're like like that. I mean, it's like this. I mean, but it's slow, but it's
like you're walking down the hall and you go.
Yes.
And then you go.
Right. So you're either touching the outside wall, or you're walking faster, or you're walking slower. The only person on the whole ship who's walking in a straight line. Right. You know why? Because
Mr.
I'm
White Russian.
so drunk that I'm staggering at the same angles or pace that the ship is moving.
Meanwhile, my butt muscles were getting a workout of a lifetime from trying to stay standing.
Right. And so, I mean, everybody is like you're touching people in the hallway because you walk in and you're like, oh, like that sort of thing. And then, or I'm like, oh, I'm falling. So, in the casino, you're walking through the casino and you're like, oh, not me, baby. Straight sailing. So now they are, and this is I think this is the funniest thing that happened. Like the more I think about it, the more I laugh. They are now changing the schedule of things that are happening on the cruise ship because the waters are moving and stuff. And they come in and they go, this is Alex, your entertainment director, and blah, blah, blah. And there's been a slight change. And tonight, the juggler will not be performing. And we laughed so hard because, because we were like, maybe it was chainsaws or something, you know what I mean? And we're like, nobody can stand on the ship. So it's not going to be good. So, we laughed and laughed and laughed. Okay.
Oh, God.
The reason I tell that part is because now what they're doing is they go, It's going to be trivia time, everybody. We are, because they're canceling the juggler. You know what? They're not going to do the chainsaw ice sculpting outside. All these things are being canceled. And so instead of that, they are pumping trivia contests. They're adding
Trivia and bingo and lectures.
anything that's
and-
indoors,
yeah,
anything they
yeah.
can do to right. So
Movies, yeah.
yeah. So they make this announcement and they say, hey, everybody, tomorrow is Throwback 80s Day. We're going to be having 80s trivia all day. Now, I mean, first of all, I told Susan, like, it is good that you cannot bring a weapon on the cruise ship because I'm about to be shooting fish in a barrel. I mean, I was born for 80s Trivia Day. I have a website called ninjasandneon.com, which is dedicated to 80s retro content. I do podcasts about old computers and old stuff. This is my life. I have an entire room full of things that I owned from the 1980s. There's nobody on this planet that is going to beat me. That's not true. There's a lot of people on this planet who could beat me at 80s trivia, but I'm hedging my bets that they're not in the 1,000 people that are on this ship, right? We go to the first trivia contest. So they say we're having 80s trivia. By the way, I do want to also say this. Susan told me for the entirety of the trip to bring 10 sets of clothes. I brought 12. I brought 12 shirts. Half of these shirts are polos or button-down shirts so that I don't look like a dipstick when we're having dinner at the Eiffel Tower, right? The other half of these shirts are shirts I bought online that have things related to the 1980s printed on them. I go to an 80s trivia contest wearing a Dungeons and Dragons t-shirt. I also have with me a Run DMC t-shirt. I also have with me
That record player insert thingy.
the logo, like the insert that you put on a 45 record. It has that large. I also have with me a Headbangers Ball t-shirt. I have an MTV t-shirt. I am Mr. 80s. Okay? That's what the waiters kept calling me.
That's not what they were calling you.
I said, "Two White Russian?" They go, "Yes, sir, Mr. 80s."
They were like, hey, that's the drunk guy with the beard.
I'm going to fast forward through this, but here's what I'm going to
No,
tell
you're
you.
not.
We go to the first 80s trivia contest, and they start asking questions that I have no idea.
They were trivial.
They were, I mean, the first question, and I've thrown this out to a few people, and then everybody gets it but me.
I know.
But the first question was, this Canadian sprinter had his gold medal revoked in the 1980s, and it's been, I can't even think of the name now, but I was like, I have no idea who that is. And then it just kept coming. It was bad. And so by the end of this list of 20 questions, I got 11. That is embarrassing.
You're demoralized.
It was terrible. I was very disappointed. Not only was I disappointed, but then I become upset because the person who won is like a 15-year-old girl who, like, she knows more about the 80s than I do. Is not possible. Now, she is sitting at a table with her family, and she goes, "Oh, my family helped me a little bit."
What if she was like a savant or something?
She's not. She's not, because you know what? I have a list of all 80 savants, and they all subscribe to my podcast. So she's not. I am not only demoralized and humiliated, pissed off,
And a little drunk.
and drunk, and embarrassed that I'm here in an 80s shirt, and I'm ready to leave. I'm like, let's go. Let's leave. And then the lady doing the trivia says, "Hey, we're going to have a second round of trivia right now, and it is 80s movies, TV, and cartoon theme songs." I turned to Susan and I said, "I'm about to teach these people a lesson." And so, during this trivia, the lady up front plays a short sample of a movie, television, or cartoon theme song, and you write it down. Now, I am surrounded by other people There's a couple to the right of me. There's a couple behind me. That's the definition of being surrounded by people.
There are jokers to the left of him. Is that from the 80s?
Jokers to the left of me. Yep, to the people to the right.
All right.
But here she is, stuck in the middle with a trivia expert. The first one that they play, and I may not get the order exactly right, but the first one that they play is the theme from E.T. And I write it on my card, and then I look at everyone, I'm covering my card, I look at everyone around me and I go, got it!
And they're all like, so did we.
No, they did not. And then the next one is Superman. And I write it down and I go, got it! I'm doing this here's the reason I'm doing this. Because I'm about to kick all these people's asses. This is my thing, right? I'm going to kick everyone's ass in this room at this trivia thing, and I don't want them to be like, oh, that guy who wasn't saying anything got 0. I'm telling you right now, I'm getting them, right? One's the theme to Rocky. One is the greatest American hero. One is The Simpsons. I mean, they're so simple to me. Now, there's a few deep cuts. Now, I'm going to tell you, I guessed on one. One was the theme to the Care Bears. Like, that's a deep cut. Not everybody knows without words, what the Care Bears theme from the 80s cartoon sounds like.
What does it sound like?
It sounds like the Care Bears.
Care Bears, doodle doodle.
Listen, copyright. I can't sing it. I would sing it so perfectly that it would set off YouTube. But I get it. I mean, one is DuckTales, which is pretty common. I'm nailing them. Now, there's one that I have 0 idea. I mean, when they played it, I was like, I'm never going to get that. In 100 million billion years, I was like, I don't know that song. I don't know it.
God, I wish I'd known it.
We get to the end of this list. I'm looking at my card, and I have 19 out of 20. Okay. Now it's time for everybody to grade their own cards. This is like a blackjack dealer who does this. My hands are empty. I put my card out on the thing because I don't want anybody thinking I'm filling in answers or I'm changing my answers. The card is the card, right? Now we're going to grade them. We go through 19 out of 20. The one I did not get, and I don't remember what it was to, but she said it was from a Canadian Christmas TV special.
That's like, what do you want? Oh, I can't say that, can I? It's
Sure
like
you
the
can.
Star Wars Christmas special.
A Wookiee for Christmas.
When he
I mean, it's a
already
deep,
has go.
this is deep cut that
yeah.
you also have to be from Canada to know. I don't know it.
Oh.
So now at the end, they do the scoring thing and they say, okay, and it's a clapping thing. Everybody in the room. And my card is here. Everybody around me knows loudly how I have done. And they've seen that I didn't cheat and it's there. How many in this room got 5 out of 20? Everybody goes, you just clap one time. Yeah, and you go, whoop, or whatever. That's all I got to censored myself. How many got 7 out of 10 or 7 out of 20? Everybody claps. 10 out of 10. Everybody claps. She's like, oh my gosh. I'm like, if you didn't get 10 out of 10, you're on the wrong trivia thing. Now, it's starting to be less clapping. Who got 13? Who got 15? Now, when it gets to 15, 2 people left clapping. One is me. One is the 15-year-old girl.
The savant.
And their little table. She's not a savant. She's at best a table full of adults who are all pooling their trivia knowledge. And at worst, she's a cheater.
On the phone.
It's the 2. That's another thing is that people will call you out if you got your phone out. So I'm like,
Hell no.
right. 15, we both clap. 16, we both clap. 17, we both clap. I'm like, if they go 20, first of all, I'm not proud, but I will punch a 15-year-old girl in the face. No comment? 18, I clap, they don't clap. Everybody starts cheering. They're like, oh my God, he got 18. And I go, 19. And I clap. The lady comes over with the microphone. She brings the trophy. The people that I beat, immediately they go, oh, well, no, they said, what one did you not get? I go, that Canadian thing or whatever. They go, yeah, we didn't get that one either or whatever. But I got a trophy.
Go get it real quick.
I got an 80s trophy. I will go get it. Here's the denouement of the trophy story. I should have carried the trophy around more because there's not that many trophies on the ship, and so when people see you with a trophy, they're like, "Oh, what'd you win that trophy for?" Like it's a conversation starter. What, you don't think that happens?
No, I'm just playing ahead here.
And so, shortly after the trophy, after the winning, we went to the sushi restaurant. There's a sushi restaurant on the ship. It's not free, but it's not expensive.
Yeah.
And it's a highlight of when I go to these cruises. I love it.
Get the bang bang sushi.
Yeah. And so we go in there, and everybody that works in the sushi restaurant is Japanese, I believe, or at least they're all Asian, but I think it's like they're all Japanese, right? And so this waitress comes over, and I have taken the trophy and I have put it at the head of the table, and she comes over. And she looks at it and she does this. She goes, "Oh," she goes, "Did you win that for your beard?"
And I said, "No, I just have it trimmed today."
But here's the thing. I have so many questions because, first of all, my first question is this an award-winning beard? Like, this is a trophy-earning beard? You don't think so? And second of all, was there a thing where they were giving out trophies for beards? If so, I missed that. I don't remember that happening.
They do have that in Guthrie, Oklahoma.
They do have a beard competition. So, okay. Here's what I want to. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, he did wear the trophy around his neck on his lanyard with the sailing sign
You
card.
can put the card through the trophy and turn it, and it will hang there.
And you did take it to a few places.
I carried it around. I should have done more.
Yeah. Morgan, when she won her trivia contest, we were on a Christmas time cruise, I believe. She went and had a professional portrait made with it. On the stage in the auditorium.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, she did.
Okay. So here's what I want to finish covering, and then I'm afraid.
At least a part 3.
We haven't covered the food.
Any of the shore excursions.
And the excursions. Here's what I think we have time. Do you think we could go through the food fast?
No, I think that we should finish the entertainment.
Let's finish the entertainment.
Okay.
And then we're just going to wrap this
So
up.
the other thing, I want to say this. So every day we have an app on our phone that tells us what's going on every day. And so I kind of plan out things. We skip most of the shows because they're stupid in general. But we do find one that I think Rob is going to like this. It is titled Epic Rock.
Okay, so before we get into that, this is what I would say. We've got the shows.
Yep.
We've got comedians.
That's part of the entertainment. That's going to have to be a whole different story.
No. Just to touch on the things that are on the show. The entertainment that we've got to. We've got a show. We've got comedians. We've got Tim.
Yeah.
And is there anything else?
I did the arts and crafts, but that doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
We didn't do a lot of stuff that was offered on the ship because we don't go to the nightclubs, we don't go to the dance parties, all the dumb theme parties like, hey, tonight's dressed in all white night. We don't do that.
There was morning exercise, like morning stretching. There was line dancing.
We would have morning dance classes in the middle of the ship, and every day I don't know, it wasn't on purpose, but we would time it, and they'd be doing their Thriller dance, and it's all these ladies, and they're in the middle of the ship in the atrium, and they're doing and Rob and I walk through, and we're always like.
Right.
You
just do
the old ladies love that. Anyway.
So I think we have time to hit those 3 things. And then on the next episode, we will have to cover food and or excursions.
I think so. Okay. I think, yeah, at least. So, okay.
So first is Epic Rock.
Epic Rock. They've done it twice. They do it twice on the show.
This is a musical Now, there was an earlier one, and it was called something like Dance into the 50s or whatever. We go, we're out.
They had an ABBA night.
Yeah, we're not,
Yeah.
ABBA night I probably would have went to.
They had an 80s one too, but we
They
didn't.
did?
Yeah.
But Epic Rock. And so I'm like, I want to get out of the room. And then he said, oh, they got this Epic Rock thing. And so we go to that. Go ahead.
Okay. So they have onboard entertainers. That's all I can say is, and so they have a dance crew and a vocalist crew, and they are trained to do like 10 different shows, so they've got this all worked up. They picked every song that they did in this 45-minute set was like rock anthems that everybody in the room.
They did a mashup of We Will Rock You and I Love Rock and Roll. They did, they ended with Journey, Don't Stop Believin'. They did, it was just every song that they did, everybody knew every word to. There was no deep cuts.
Right. Perfect for cruisers. So cruisers are typically newlyweds and nearly dead, right? Well, there weren't any newlyweds on this ship.
No.
So, and we were the youngest of the nearly dead. So everybody knew all the words. It was a blast. It was packed out. They had a fantastic laser show. So
I have read online some complaints about the show, and the complaints are exactly that. Now, they did say before the show, they said there may be bright lights and pyrotechnics or whatever, which I thought, do we need fire on the cruise ship? Not me. I'm good without that. But it was, and we were at the lower level, but there was constantly lasers just pointed that would be out there for a long time and disappear. There were strobe lights that were going off, bright lights, and then at least once, maybe twice, but at least once, there was pyrotechnics where a thing went boom and then sparkles came down all over the stage. But I have read online people complaining about the lasers. There were lasers pointing at my face. Like I had lasers, or I had these strobe lights, and the strobe lights I thought were blinding, so.
Also, constant stream of liquid smoke. Smoke machine.
Yeah.
Liquid smoke's what you cook with. We didn't have any of that.
No.
Yeah.
But fun show.
Good fun show.
Great. Afterwards, here's a mistake that you can make. Afterwards, all the performers, I keep saying like Broadway style. I don't know. It's
very Broadway style.
Yeah, but the singing and dancing and just a whole production. It was great. Afterwards, all the people on the stage run around. And they stand in the exit, so when you leave, you can shake the people's hand. You can see everybody running.
See how sweaty they are.
I shook hands, and I was like, oh! Like, I got a handful of wet glitter. That's what I got. I was like, whoa, I should have done that. And then I go, and then when I shook the hand, I go, I love rock. Like I was like trying out. I said, here's my resume if you need somebody. I did not do that, but I made the mistake of touching one of the performers, and I wished I had not have done that. We're going to talk about the comedians. We're not going to get into a whole lot of specifics because we're running along here, but here's what I want to say about the comedians. We saw, according to our records, 5 comedians on this ship.
Yeah, they actually changed comedians at the ports. Like they flew in different people.
When we got to, what was our third stop?
The Azores Islands?
It was either Azores or Bermuda, but there were comedians that got off and other comedians got on, so they switched out people, right? And of course, comedians, they rotate, so it will be, like if there are 3 comedians, let's say, one guy does the early show, which is going to be family friendly, and the other 2 are going to do a late night show, which are going to be adult content. And then they rotate. Now, one thing we learned is that some of the comedians repeat content over and over, while other ones have. So some of them show up and they say, hey, I could do 5 shows, and they have enough content for 2. So they're just telling the same stuff over and over. There's no reason to go see them again. I personally thought, like on a scale of 1 to 10 overall, and there was one guy that we did think was pretty funny. I would say overall, they were about a quality of 3. They were a quality of, if I were watching them on YouTube, I would not make it to the end of the video. I would jump to the end or to the next video.
Yeah.
When I say that they weren't funny, I don't mean that they were offensive. I don't mean that it was, that they said bad things or whatever. It just really wasn't funny. Now, there's a whole cliche about comedians on cruise ships that they're going to joke about the food. They're going to joke about,
passengers in general.
Passengers. They're like, oh, look how many overweight people are on this ship, which is,
and old people. They always make fun of old
people. Yeah, make fun of,
oh,
look at these old guys, There was one comedian, I'll tell you specifically, that was trying to do the thing where you interact with the crowd. You know, like, hey, where are you from? Oh, Kentucky. Oh, but you like the chicken, you know, that sort of thing. And he was so bad at it. It was terrible. And it wasn't going well, and he just didn't know when to bail out. I mean, he did eventually, but I mean, there's a guy in the front row, and he goes, what do you do for a living? And the guy goes, manufacturing. And he goes, oh, this guy. Can you be any more specific or general or manufacturing? And he goes, what do you do? And he goes, I make airbags. And he goes, oh. And then one lady goes, woo, like that. And he goes, well, that's a good line to take, you know, be pro airbag or whatever. And he sat there and he goes, well, I just couldn't think of anything funny to say about airbags. It's like he's just bailing out of the bit, like right on stage.
Then he says, anybody here take Viagra?
No, well, he says to the guy, he goes,
hilarious.
so you take the Viagra? And then the guy goes, no, I'm 50. And he goes, oh yeah. He goes, you're a young guy. He goes, the comedian is terrible, because here's what you do. You go, hey, anybody take Viagra? You do, right? And you just point out you're not pointing at anybody.
You can't even see that.
Right, you just go, that guy, you know.
Yeah.
So then he turns to a guy, he goes, what about you, Scooter? And so at first I think, oh, that's a funny nickname. It's like, hey, buddy. You know what I mean? He calls this guy Scooter because he is an old man in a mobility scooter, which, I mean, I think it's funny. I don't think it's funny if you're in a scooter, but he goes, what about you, Scooter? And, I mean, I'm not going to repeat the whole bit.
You have to. It's hilarious.
The guy at first, he goes, what about you? Do you take the Viagra? And he goes, no, it didn't work for me because I can't feel my legs. And the comedian is like, and then the man starts talking about a surgical pump that he's had implanted
into his wiener.
And then the comedian goes, I'm going to go talk to the airbag guy. Like, I'm going back to the airbag guy. It's so bad. Like, it's going so...
And we're all laughing, not because it's funny, but because it's so awkward.
Because it's great to watch a train wreck happen live on stage. And all the comedians... I mean, there was one comedian that kept doing all these bits about hotel rooms and stuff. And it was, like, sort of funny, but he had changed the jokes to be like, oh, my cruise ship room. But the thing is, the jokes don't work because a cruise ship room is not like a hotel room. He should have just kept it, saying, oh, when I travel, I go to hotel rooms, you know, that sort of thing. But the jokes didn't work, you know, and just over and over and over. They just were not funny, you know, and some of them, I mean, again, you know, like when you're talking about, like when you know, if you say something like you go, I mean, one guy was like, it was almost like he was doing Seinfeld bits, you know, like, what is it about airplane food? Like that sort of thing, you know? But he was like, the kids these days, now they're getting cell phones? And I'm like, is this 2010?
The cell phones?
Right. I go, yeah. And he goes, you remember when we were kids and we had the rotary phones? And I'm like, boy, you think you've got you know what I mean? He's talking about, like, he's doing a whole bit on pay phones and stuff. And I was just like, boy, this is rough. It just wasn't. It wasn't. I mean, I just feel like they just don't vet these people. And the thing is that people don't care. You know what I mean? You go there for an hour and you have a drink and you go, oh, that was an hour, and you leave.
So I will say this: at the end of our trip on the last night, I pulled out my journal, and Rob and I are both actually pretty funny people, and we wrote down about 8 pages of jokes of funny things that for the most part were true that we actually saw happen on the cruise ship. And we're going to I think that we really should do a whole podcast of funny crap that we saw on the ship and go through that thing that we wrote as memory triggers. It was funny. Okay. Well, we're way funnier than the comedians.
That does bring me to something that I want to mention. A lot of people, I've been doing You Don't Know Flack for 15 years. And consistently people go, how come you don't have your wife on more? They go, you know what my favorite episode is whatever the one where your wife was on talking, and you weren't talking so much. And so we have talked about starting a spin-off show where we do things like this, where we talk and we do whatever, and we are going to kick that off. It'll be a YouTube thing, so it'll be hosted on my regular YouTube channel. So if you subscribe to youtube.com/Rob O'Hara, there will be a playlist for whatever this is. It will also be in an audio forecast or a format that'll be on my my a page of podcasts.
I think we've got 5 podcasts worth of material from the pages of stuff we wrote that we saw happen on the cruise ship.
I think that is definitely a good topic for one of those shows.
That would be so funny.
So we will definitely do that.
I don't think we can talk about Tim today. We don't have time.
We are going to talk about Tim, and then we're going to wrap things up. When you're on a ship for 14 days, your standards become super low. And what I mean by that,
I have to insert something. You start seeing people walking around the ship in a robe.
oh yeah, I mean there's
A lot
weird
of
stuff.
people.
There's weird stuff.
Okay, anyway, part of that.
But more than that is like if you were to tell me right now, like, hey, they're giving away what was that the diamond artwork thing called? Is there a name for that type of artwork?
It's diamond. I think it's called diamond art. I know, I'm not being a smartass.
It's a type of art where it's like color by numbers, except for you stick little pieces of plastic on a piece of paper.
Very
right?
satisfying way to pass time.
If you told me right now, I'll pay you $1,000 to walk across the street and go do it, I would not do it. It looks terrible. But then on a cruise ship, on day 12, you're like, I'll do anything. You're like, oh, today we're going to go talk to cookies. I go, all right, that sounds whatever. We're going to learn how to make sushi. Okay.
So the diamond art I made is at the framers right now. Should I?
So the thing is, your level of entertainment becomes very, very, I mean, it's just like, because what are you going to do? You're going to sit in your room
Watch the ocean.
and watch the TV. You look out the window and watch the ocean, or turn the TV and watch the ocean channel. I mean,
There's
that's
only so much froyo you can eat. That is true.
That's not true. We ate a lot of froyo.
Yeah, I know. I got the stink eye from my creative containering on that, but we'll talk about that later.
So, one of the classes that comes up, and they have classes that'll be like, hey, how to spot a fake diamond, you know, because
Because they're trying to sell you stuff.
yeah, it's just so much stuff, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
by the end of it, you're like, I guess I'll go sit in there for an hour. And like, I'll just go sit in there on my phone, is whatever, right? So the second half of the cruise, you saw something on the agenda that said, learn photography tips.
Yeah.
Now we're both
Instagrammable or something like that.
we're both moderately good photographers.
Yeah. Have social media presences, all that. Yeah.
I mean, I took photography in college. I took journalism, like photojournalism. Like I know about the basic rules of photography. You take a lot of photos for social media. You know how to do all these things. You know the colors and the angles and poses and all this stuff. And you're really good at it. So
Thank you.
especially when you photograph me. So when I'm in a robe at the buffet at 2 a.m. So so I'm not expecting to get a lot out of this class, but it's better than the one about making diamond artwork or whatever this crap is, you know. So I'm like, let's go do it, you know. It does sound fun. I'm underselling it, but it sounds okay, right? And so we go to this class. I mean, and now this is in a auditorium that seats 500 people at least.
Yeah.
You think? And there's a guy on the stage, and there are 30 people in this room. I mean, there's nobody here, right? I mean,
Yeah, not many.
we're scattered around. And the guy introduces himself, and he says his name is Tim Tamashiro. That's going to come back. And Tim Tamashiro says, hey, today I'm going to talk to you about some basic things you can do to improve your photography. And, so then he goes through things that I know, things that I've told Susan that would improve her photography. And not that I'm a genius, it's just I had them in classes. Like the rule of thirds. Like if you frame a thing like this and you put something here, like that's the rule of thirds. Or leading lines, And he talks about these things and I go, that's all good information. You know what I mean?
Make sure your horizon is level. That's a big one.
Right, which I'm terrible at. Now, I thought that his slides were really well done. You said that they were well done, but that
They're Canva from a mile away.
yeah.
Yeah, I love Canva.
But he also has examples of his own photography, and it's really good. And one of the things that right off the bat is a picture of the Azores Islands, which we were just at. It's like he'd just taken this picture, I'm like, okay. So this guy checks out, he's interesting or whatever. And right towards the end of this presentation, like he's done a lot of cool stuff about photography, blah, blah, blah. right somewhere in the end, he drops a reference to the Beastie Boys. I should back this up a little bit. This guy is, we found out later, he's 58 years old. I mean, he looks like he's 10 years older than us. He's Japanese and has a Canadian accent and makes a joke about being bald, that he has recently shaved his head.
And now he looks like a thumb.
He said he looks like a thumb. Is the funniest thing. It's so funny. And, but, so you think, I don't know this guy. I don't know for anything. I know he's teaching a photography class. I assume he's some sort of photographer.
He had the most amazing energy that drew me. I think I can speak for both of us. He drew us in. Like it was him that drew us in.
He's like energetic. He's enthusiastic, but he's also gentle.
Super chill.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he makes a Beastie Boys reference. And I was not expecting that. I was like, this guy knows who the Beastie Boys are? Like, that's weird. I mean, not that they're secret, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't seem like a reference he would make. So then he says, hey, on this ship, I'm going to be doing a few other presentations. And I'm like, oh, more photography stuff, right? And then he lists all the presentations that he's going to be doing throughout the ship. He says, one is astronomy or astrology, and I forgot what it was.
Constellations,
yeah. But we skipped that one.
Yeah.
He says, I'll be doing a guided meditation later this week. I'll also be talking about how to find your internal happiness, and that goes into a story about how I became a part-time monk. And then on the last one, I'm going to be talking... no, it wasn't the last one. It was the next one. He said, I'm going to be talking about Ikigai. And Ikigai is a Okinawa... it's not a theory.
It's a concept.
A concept about... essentially, it translates to your life's value or your life's...
purpose.
Yeah, your purpose, right? Okay. Which Susan says immediately when he says, because Ikigai is not a common word. It's spelled Ikigai. And so if you hear someone say Ikigai, it's probably a pretty small number of people that recognize that.
Including me.
Immediately Susan says, I know that. And she says, and by the way, I have a book on Ikigai, which it turns out is a... common in leadership and management type things.
It fits in. It jives with me. Right.
And then she says, I think I have this guy's book. So now we go back to the room and we start looking, and I'm Googling Tim Temeshiro, and he hasn't written a book on Ikigai. First of all, he's written the book on Ikigai, and second of all, he's written multiple books on Ikigai. We're like, what is this? What is this dude?
Who is he?
Right.
And why is he on a cruise ship?
And so now we're Googling, right? And he says, well, then we find out it says, oh, he used to work for MCA Records, and he used to be like an A&R rep. And I'm like, well, that would explain why he knows music from the 80s and 90s, right? Like why he would make a Beastie Boys reference. And then it says, so I'm like, does he have a Wikipedia page? His Wikipedia page is terribly small, and I'm going to make it a personal point of updating his Wikipedia page. His Wikipedia page is very terrible. It says, he is known for being two things. Number one, a Canadian jazz singer who has put out 6 albums. And number 2, for being the host of a jazz radio program, which was on, is it CBC, the Canadian Broadcasting Network, or CBN or CBC, sorry, for a decade. He was a radio host for a nationally syndicated program for a decade, and he's put out 6 jazz albums. And I was like...
And he was a monk.
And he knows the rule of thirds of photography. So we're like, okay, this dude is something, right? And so you ever like you're just drawn to somebody, you know, like you go, this guy's got good energy. So we go back to, was the second one the Ikigai, or was the second one the guided?
I think the second one was the Ikigai.
So we go back to the Ikigai thing. And the funny thing about the thing is, we were still kind of like, who is this dude? But not only have we gone back, but I want to talk to him afterwards because based on his photography stuff, we've decided to have our own little photo challenge around the ship. And so we've gone around and I took a really good picture of Froyo, or maybe of a frozen Drake. And I used the rule of thirds, and I used depth of field, and I used all these things. And so I go, hey, Tim, look at my picture. And he goes, oh.
Look at what I did.
Yeah, and he goes, that's absolutely fantastic. I go, you have implemented. He goes, you have captured all the things that I shared yesterday, and look at what a wonderful photo. It was like when you catch a football and your dad's like, I'm so proud of you, son. Like you did it,
It's like showing your kindergarten teacher your pasta art.
Yes, it was so, I was like, thank you, Mr. Temashiro. Like, I was like,
He does this, he goes, you've done a good job.
He did. He was like, this is a wonderful thing. I was like, oh my God, he looks my photo of a Bahama Breeze.
Rob is officially starstruck, by the way.
So, then, so now we're all into Ikigai, right? Which, by the way, when we are done with this series of podcasts about the cruise and all this stuff, I have a podcast planned about Ikigai.
And more, probably more on Tim, too, frankly.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, then we go to the next one.
Wait a
And
minute. He ended the Ikigai.
no, it's the guided meditation one that he did.
We did the Ikigai one.
Uh-huh.
And he discusses all of it.
That's
and at
right.
the very end.
Okay, but wait. To part of your Ikigai is to determine like what is the point. Everything, like you find whatever your thing is. It's like a 2-word phrase, like to teach or to nurture or whatever. And it's this thing that you find, and it's complicated. It's simple, but it's complicated. But it's like once you find that thing, it's like that's the thing that everything you put out into the world comes from that. So if your thing is to nurse, then everything you do, like you're like, I want to go be a nurse, or I want to nurse people, or I want to do, and that's like your purpose and all this stuff. And his is to delight. And so he has gone through this speech and he has said, my whole point, everything that I do, these presentations, the books, everything that I do is to delight.
And so he ends the presentation. Rob and I are in the front row, by the way. He ends the presentation by singing, "What a Wonderful World."
And we both got choked up.
We both cried.
I am being serenaded by a 16-year-old Japanese man
On a cruise
singing
ship.
"It's a Wonderful World" on a cruise ship in a giant auditorium with 30 people. And I'm like, oh my, my throat is this, and I look at Susan and she's like, got it, and I'm like, what is happening? I'm in love with a Japanese man. Like something weird's going on.
It was bound to happen.
And so the third presentation that we went to, he said, I'm going to do a guided meditation, which I've never done any meditation. I've really wanted to do meditation.
I've tried so hard for a long time.
Right.
I've Calm app, done this,
And Susan knows, and I'm so ADHD. She says I'm the only person in the world that can write a blog post while I'm watching someone else's YouTube video at the same time.
And listening to the radio.
It's just, I have constant barrage of input. And
even at bedtime.
Even at bedtime, I put on headphones. I listen to things when I fall asleep. And
You were afraid of being alone with your thoughts.
I don't like it. And so we did a thing where he taught us breathing techniques. And we did this breathing thing where we counted. And as we start doing a guided meditation, which by the way is in an auditorium, they start doing their behind the scenes tour. The Carnival people are doing their behind the scenes tour. And they march 20 people through this auditorium. I thought it was the most disrespectful thing, and I'm sure it wasn't meant that way.
Bad planning.
It's just bad timing. They march these people through the auditorium, and they all go, and they're standing behind the curtain that's on the back of the stage. So not only are they just being super loud, and they are at the point where they are getting the tour of the behind the scenes of the show presentation, the performers, and it's Q&A time. How long does it take you to learn how to dance? They're just... And the thing is, they're being picked up by Tim's microphone, right? I'm so ADHD. Susan knows this. We will go into a restaurant. And think about a tic-tac-toe. You go into a restaurant, and I sit in the middle, and when we leave, I could tell you what every table around us at a tic-tac-toe was talking about. I'm like, oh my God, how's her cancer going? And Susan goes, who? And I'm like, the lady that had the ribs. You know, I mean, I know, and I don't want to. And I've told Susan before, it's the way my brain processes stuff, is that imagine being in a room where a mouse, and that volume of that mouse going is barely a 1. And the wind's blowing outside, and that volume is a 2. And you and I are having a conversation, and that should be a 10, right? But in my brain, there's no level. They're all the same. The mouse is as loud and as important as the wind outside, which is as loud and important as what you're saying to me. My brain sees all those as the equal thing, not just volume level, processing level, right? And so we're sitting in a room, and this guy is like, let me teach you how to breathe. How do you do the jumps when the plane, when the ship goes on the angle, you know? And I am so frustrated because not only do I want to do this, you know, I want to learn this breathing technique, and I want to do this guided meditation. I want to try this thing, but they're ruining it, and they're ruining it for everybody. And again, I don't know that they know it because they're on the other side of a curtain. You know,
Totally unaware. Yeah.
And as we're doing this, Tim says to us, he says, this is what he says, part of meditation is knowing that you are you, like you are in your space, and there are things around you, but if those things are, you can't let those things bother you. That's you letting those things bother you. That's you acknowledging this outside stimulus, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you, and I've never had this happen before, those voices became less important to me until they disappeared.
Yeah, he used it as a fantastic teachable moment on how to actually meditate in the world on this earth.
It's not that they disappeared like I couldn't hear them. It's like my mind said it's not important.
Yeah.
Like what Tim is saying is important. And
He
so
gotcha.
the guided meditation went on. He did a visual guided thing where he had us imagine a spatula in your kitchen, and we went through this whole thing. And then he said, here's what we're going to do is we're going to breathe deep for the next 10 or 15 minutes, which to me is like having a corkscrew driven into my eyeball.
That's true.
Like
You've never done that
in my life. I've never been sat in one spot and been quiet for 15 minutes. And we're there, and I was afraid I'd fall asleep, you know, but it wasn't. My brain cleared out, and I thought about all these things, and I told you, like I had this visual trip about like seeing us in the future, and we were old, and what we want to do, and how I want to do things, and what do I want to accomplish in my life, and how do I achieve these? I mean, it just happened, you know. It was wonderful. Mm-hmm. And so, I will say, I don't think it was after this. Maybe it was after this. But I did get an opportunity to talk with Tim Tamashiro after one of the things. And I told him, and I'm slightly embarrassed about this, I told him that his presentation on Ikigai, I think, may have changed my life, and I got choked up, which was not my intention.
I bet he gets that a lot.
And he was very gracious and very honored, and I'm sure this would not come to surprise anyone, but he and I have emailed each other a few times since the cruise. And I'm sure he gets a million people that did do that. You know, it's not like he's, you know, like we're besties now. But
you're not getting married next week or anything?
No.
Okay.
To a thumb. But the...
oh my gosh.
It was one of those, like, what was the old term, the paradigm shift? It was like this moment where you go, that's a different way to approach doing things. And the thing about Ikigai, and then I'll get off it, is that once you figure out like what your thing is, right? Like whether it's to nurse, whether it's to teach, whether it's to delight, whether it's whatever it is. Once you figure that out, you can immediately not only take that and start putting it towards the projects that you want to do, you can immediately see the projects that aren't a part of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like what we talked about. Like, I'm not going to start building, schoolhouses for kids. It's not part
not
of
your
my
thing, yeah.
right? And so it's a nice idea, but you go, that's not my gift, and that's not my purpose, and that's not what I want to do. So, very, very inspiring speaker. I thought, as far as the entertainment went, and as far as the ship, he was the highlight, except for possibly the chocolate chip cookies, which we're going to have to get into on the third podcast.
Right. But so let's say this: totally unplanned, unexpected. You never know who's going to be on a ship. I'm sure there are some people who are like cruise ship geeks who they know who the cruise directors are going to be and blah blah blah. We did not know who was going to be providing that kind of entertainment.
We could have just as easily missed that presentation.
Yeah, it was probably the biggest like long-term takeaway from the trip.
And if you said, hey, I'm going to take you to a thing where we're doing a guided meditation, what are the two words I would have said?
Hell no.
I'm out was what I was going, but
lots of words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not my thing, right?
You had to be introduced to him to get his vibe before you're like, I do anything. If he taught about chewing gum, I go.
And so on robohara.com, I wrote a blog post about, not really about Ikigai or any of the things, but about Tim Tamashiro, and I have links to his books and his YouTube channel and stuff like that. I'll be getting into that more on a future episode of You Don't Know Flack, because it's not like one of the, like, when I think of, like, I don't want to use the word guru, you know what I mean, but when I think of like someone who is a person that's inspirational or somebody like that, and it's not the guy, right? It's the message. It's like the thing that they do. But to me, I just think, first of all, I think that's hokey. And second of all, I think they're just trying to get your money. And third, and I think it's a scam. And I think all these things, right? And so to just run across somebody and then see this and then be like, wow, like that's really cool, And so part of me wants to share the stuff that I got out of that with other people. But I also don't want to be like the guy that's like, oh, I'm just taking his content and redoing it. You know what I'm saying?
I'm
like,
glad he's not firing up a cult, because you'd be right there.
I mean, Susan was like, she goes, at one point she was like, so when are you shaving your head and joining the Tim Tamashiro cult? Because I was all in, and the last presentation he did was about how, his whole life was about giving presentations and public appearances and singing and performing and doing all these things. And then COVID hit, and it took away his personality or not his personality, but his
identity.
And his identity, yeah.
Yeah.
And he talked openly about how he basically had a mental breakdown. And when he went to get some help and he did all these things. And when he got out, he said, I just need to refocus and find myself. And he found a monk monastery where you could sign up for a month and go be a monk. And so he did that. By the way, this guy has done things like that. He has a whole series of YouTube videos about how he went on a icebreaker ship in the northern Canadian waters. So, like, he's done super interesting things. But he talked about that, and then he talked about basically ways to find your happiness. And he has a lot of cool key phrases. And one of them was, he said that we need to suffer less, but he puts it together as one word: suffer less and happy more. And he is working on a podcast that is going to be called that. So I'm definitely, I've put in my Google search for Tim Tamashiro and podcast. So when that pops up, I'll be subscriber number one. But
I'm guessing he'll be guest number one too.
But yeah, I mean, big, huge takeaway. I mean, for the cruise ship, you do all these things and you go, oh man, that was a great meal. But a meal's not going to, change your life, right? Or you say, there was a fun, I won a trivia thing, or we had this, or we saw this, or we did this, or we met these people, But that was the thing where it was super impactful. And that's something that I will always remember from that trip.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I hate to end it with that, but there were other entertainment things we did, and I'm going to ask Rob to grab a picture of the caricature we did. It was free on the ship, and this was like a 7-minute entertainment thing. But I'm going to ask you to put it like right here on the screen so everybody can see how much it does not look like us. My cheeks are not that fat. anyway.
I mean, I look like a chia pet with a giant drunk nose.
You look like a trucker.
Yeah, a trucker dude. The sitting session, and first of all, it was free. So, and it was 15-minute, and he got started 7 minutes late on ours. So, I mean, I don't know that we got the full experience, but we had a caricature done like 20 years ago.
It's hanging on our wall.
It's framed and hanging on our wall, and so we were kind of hoping to have a before and after, but this after is going in a drawer. So
looks like a man.
Actually, it's not true. It's going on the wall because it's so funny.
Definitely, and yeah, it looks like we've had 30 hard years.
It's a rough one.
Right. So that's the gamut of entertainment on the ship, from totally superficial and inaccurate to a life-changing experience.
And everything in between.
Everything in between. There are so many more things to tell, though. We still haven't talked about the actual, like, some of the stuff happening on the ship, some major maintenance type things that happened on the ship. And then we have a whole episode probably on shore excursions with some funny stories, and probably a whole episode on food.
Yeah, I think we definitely have two more.
Yeah. So, namaste. It was nice spending 2 hours with you. We've been on for 2 hours now.
Yeah.
And thanks for listening. Hope to see you on the next one soon.
Yep. So stay tuned. If you're not subscribed, if you're not subscribed to updates on YouTube, on the Rob O'Hara channel, subscribe there so you can get the next update of these videos. It'll be into the You Don't Know Flack playlist. And also, if you're not subscribed to my podcast, which is You Don't Know Flack, that's how you can get the audio version of this and other similar type podcasts. You can find all of them over on podcast.robohara.com. Now, for people, I don't know why, but for people that find you more endearing than me, where can people find you?
You can find me on legslikemine.com and all the socials with the hashtag or with the username legslikemine.
Thanks for listening, everybody. And now, let's take a break. We're out of time. But,
I'm ready to eat a burrito. Come on, let's go.
Speaking of burritos, man, those, what was that name of that burrito place on the ship?
Blue Iguana?
It's a Blue Iguana?
Iguana can't say it. Iguana meat? I don't know.
I cannot wait to tell you about that on the next episode. Bye, everybody.
Peace out.
Are we cool like that?
No, we're not.